Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time. So in this episode, we're going to talk about pedo friends, as this is a common example of queer representation in the Wheel of Time. Originally, we intended to make only one episode on this topic, but turns out we have a lot to say on that, so this may end up being cut in 2 or 3 episodes in post-production. We'll have to see. So for now, let's start with what Rupert Jordan said about pedo friends. James, wanna go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start out with like the most common quote that I see thrown around whenever we talk about pillow friends. And this is from Robert Jordan's official blog, which was hosted on Dragonmount back in September of 2005. So, quote, "Pillow friends are not just good friends. Oh, they are that too, but they also get hot and sweaty together and muss up the sheets something fierce. By the way, pillow friends is a term used in the White Tower. The same relationship between men or women elsewhere would be called something else depending on the country." There is also another quote from 1 week later. I assume it was in follow-up to that original quote where he says, "I have gay and lesbian characters in my books, but the only time it has really come into the open is with the Aes Sedai because I haven't been inside the heads of any other characters who are either gay or bi. For the most part, in this world, things are taken as a matter of course." So, how do we feel about those quotes, guys?
I'm still not past the hot and sweaty together and mussing up the sheets something fierce. I feel like he was going for that one.
I mean, at least we can say that Moraine fucks.
Absolutely.
Something fierce.
Something fierce. It feels like a very southern way of saying it. Like, they muss up the sheets something fierce. I'm like, I've never heard that before.
No.
As a southerner, I can confirm.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm like, I wasn't trying to offend. I was just like, muss up this. Can you read that with your accent, Matt?
Here we go.
Yeah, pillow friends are not just good friends. Oh, they are that too, but they also get hot and sweaty together and muss up the sheets something fierce. Also, that is definitely not an actual Southern accent. It's just some shit Hollywood
No, that was
puts out.
beautiful.
That was perfect.
Beautiful.
I loved it.
No, real Southern accents are just like fried cornbread you find on the side of the street and you pick it up and eat it anyways. That's what real Southern accents are like, not like this.
I'm trying not to laugh because I cannot laugh about other people's accents. That would be hypocritical of me. But still.
It's okay. It's all good.
Listen, we're all friends here. It's fine.
So yes, those quotes. What can we say?
It's a lot. I just remember when I heard that for the first time, I was like, I can't decide if I am impressed by this or offended by this. And I keep going kind of back and forth.
Same.
It definitely like rides that line between I get where you were going, thank you, and could you just not though?
Can we say this another way?
So the thing is that when I read that quote at first, I was wondering what was the context for it, in a sense that in the text, in the book, like pedo friends are mentioned, but there's no explicit talks of their relationship. So I was wondering if at that time people were using a lot like pedo friend, like, oh no, there's nothing actually happening between those persons. Pedo friends just mean good friends.
There are people that still do that.
I mean, yes, we definitely noticed that, like, when the TV show came out, I had so many people trying to show me that, no, Moraine and Swan were just friends. I'm like, no, they are pedo friends. So by definition, it was sexual.
Yes.
No, I hate to break it to like the what I call the book clubs, which I still hate that name, but I hate to break it to them. But if you think that pillow friends are just friends, you are objectively, factually wrong, and you have no argument, and you should be ashamed of yourself and go away.
The funny thing is that one of the arguments they're going to use is some of the time is the companion quote about Moraine and Swan about how they were not lesbian. And I'm like, not just lesbian have sexual relationship with women. So
you're either gay or you're a lesbian. Those are the two genders.
It's just two. only L and G. That's it, right?
It's
totally.
no more alphabet mafia, just the LNG.
LNG. No, I mean, I agree with Kat. I'm like, when this came out, it is actually right after I started reading the books. Mm-hmm. And I remember on Tarvalon.net, someone made a post about it. And I was like, yeah, that tracks. But it was a thing way back when. Like, it was a thing when this came out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, back in the mid 2000s, you weren't reading fantasy for representation. But this was like, I can equate this to She Who Shall Not Be Named saying Dumbledore was gay. It's the same level of thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, to me, there's a fine line between saying that your world contains same-sex couples and just sort of giving us low-key lesbian porn. And I think Robert Jordan pretty much, I don't know, with the whole mussing the sheets up, he treads that line. And like Kat, I still don't know if I'm impressed or offended or both.
It's okay. There's another quote that we'll get to in a minute. That's worse.
No, I mean, there's many quotes that are worse. There's, I don't know. It's.
I mean, there are a few in here that are pretty bad, but and again, like, I get where he was going. It was nice. Yeah. It's just, it's, as a queer reader, it's hard not to see this as like, okay, thanks, but
yeah, and like, I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to just dismiss his attempts, because I can appreciate that an attempt was made, because an attempt was made for sure. For a cis heterosexual man, an attempt was made. Was it well done? No, but
it was better than a lot of other 90s, mid 2000s fantasy.
Yeah.
Not all. There are some that are a lot better, but
among mainstream fantasy, yeah.
And that's for part 2 and 3.
Yes. No, I mean, yeah, we'll kind of get to that a little bit, but it was very, very clear that Jordan was much more comfortable talking about female sexuality than he was about male sexuality or male nudity in any way.
Or men.
Or men, just in general. Just
in
men.
general.
I mean, how many men smooth their skirts in the series, if we're being honest?
I mean, that's the real question, right?
Yeah, I'm asking the tough questions. None of the men.
Is that the name of the episode? How many men smooth their skirts in the series?
I think it might be.
It could be.
How many men smooth their skirts?
I mean, how many men have a skirt in that series? Not a lot. So there's it is. I may have not checked the data, but I think the data is clear.
At least that trope was avoided.
And how many times did Perrin cross his arms over his massive man titties?
No, maybe there's the title of the episode. Okay, so I will say, in doing some research for this, I utilized the 13th Depository, which is by Linda Taglieri, who is an amazing Wheel of Time Robert Jordan scholar. And she has also looked at Robert Jordan's notes in the Citadel. I believe she actually looked at them before they were in the Citadel, like when they were still at Jordan's house. But she has something in here on Robert Jordan's Aes Sedai notes. And in the description for this episode, we'll definitely link this article so you can go check it out in all of its glory and experience this for yourself. But on Robert Jordan's Aes Sedai notes, he says, between 1/3 and 1/2 of all Aes Sedai, possibly somewhat more, are either gay or mainly bisexual to one degree or another. He then goes on to talk a little bit about why the relationships with men who live shorter lifespans are difficult and why that leads to some Aes Sedai sleeping with other Aes Sedai. It also talks a little bit about how women continue this relationship sometimes into like years later. There is a weird quote at the very end of this, though. He says, just to confuse matters more, a fair number of those who consider themselves lovers of women and women only will still occasionally experiment with a man.
Oh, God.
And I'm
That's
like,
oh, God. It's
Oh, bless
like,
your heart.
this is the thing. It's very clear that, I mean, we were kind of joking before that like only L and G exist, but I think that kind of is some people's reality where they're not, they don't acknowledge or they're not aware that you can be bisexual and pansexual, and like, there are different types. And there's like,
right. No,
yeah.
and I mean, I get where he was going with this, because it's weird that he says that they are bisexual to one degree or the other.
Right.
So he's clearly aware of bisexuality, but at the same time, he seems to dismiss it, which is just really, really weird to me.
I mean, it seems to dismiss both bisexuality and like clear homosexuality because, hey, after all, maybe they are lover of women. Who knows? Maybe they'll still experiment. And like the experimentation part feels very much like, I mean, I'm gay. I've been asked whether I would sleep with a dude. Like some people have no shame in asking the kind of weird question, and that kind of has the same vibes sometimes.
Right.
And also, like, regarding bisexuality, like, even inside the queer community, there's still sometimes stereotypes that bisexuality are people that don't make a choice.
Right.
Which is not true. Like,
no.
But it's still something that comes up sometimes, and I think was even more present around the time where the book was made.
Yeah.
So maybe there's also this influence sometimes that showed up.
Yeah, bi-erasure is definitely like a really big thing in the queer community, which is really frustrating. I will say later in that quote, I missed an important part, and it says that the proportions of gay women to heterosexual among Aes Sedai is roughly the same as in the general population. So that's basically saying that 1/3 and 1/2 of Randland is queer, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the W.
Sure.
And go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I take the win, but I don't see the win.
I mean, it's a headcanon win. I mean, the way I see it is just that he had no idea how many. Maybe 1/3 or more of the porn he watched was like lesbian porn or something. So that gave him a skewed idea of how many women have sex with women, and thus a skewed reality of the world. I love you, Robert Jordan.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I am going to take a very, like, this was the mid-2000s view of, like, everything. But for that, I am going to separate myself and say that he was being very progressive because I need that. And yes, this is my reality.
That's okay.
I'm stuck on thinking of, like, him, like, his research, quote-unquote research, is just, like, his porn history search and just like calculating, okay,
he was
what
not looking at
this?
There's no he couldn't this was dial-up, girl.
He was before internet.
Well, how else would he research for the Mistress of Discipline or whatever the Aes Sedai was called?
So the library, then he was hitting up the library.
Yes, he was hitting up the library, and it was the South, so I don't think they had any gay porn.
Oh, that's, you know what?
And maybe, the view that they had of the queer community was like the extremes that people talk about, like pride or whatever. And that was like who at that time, like people who were being talked about a lot in the queer community, maybe that was more the like BDSM part or like.
Right, because that was the very evident part of the queer community way back then. Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, I have heard firsthand from Jordan's family that he was a very accepting and very, like, this was not, he wasn't homophobic. He had very good relationships with queer people. And I totally agree that none of this is to say that Robert Jordan is not a good person or was not accepting. Yeah. It's just to say that he had views that a lot of heterosexual cisgendered men had in the 1980s, 90s when he was writing this. So it's just take that with a grain of salt, I guess, before you all get mad.
I mean, I'm not mad at him at all. Actually, it's a thing of like, yeah, he's a problematic cis white dude, but he's our problematic cis white dude. And if you come for him, I will take it outside.
Absolutely.
I will join you on the parking
discussing...
lot. I will join you on the parking lot.
No, I mean, it's just we are looking at this very specific lens, this one aspect through a very queer lens. So it is going to skew a little bit one way or the other. But
yeah.
And also, I don't want to be too tough on like people writing a representation for something that is not part of their identity, because at the same time, I don't want representation to only have to come from people from this like different community, because first it's like a tough job to put on the community shoulder to be the only people responsible for the community for the representation, and second, I feel like for a lot of good representation, in order to be able to get good representation, sometimes we have to go through bad representation to be able to also say, hey, that was bad representation and that was not what we exactly would like to see. So we are not gonna go from 0 to 100 in terms of representation in one day, and it's gonna take time. And any step forward, even the smaller cities, even if it's some tropes and like bad representation that we are not super comfortable with, it's probably better than just like not having any queer characters at all in a fantasy series that big. And especially like Robert Jordan, maybe he did a lot of mistakes, but now we get like to see a new turning of the wheel with like more representation, and we'll get deeper into that later on. But if there wasn't those hints of those crumbs of representation, even crumbs that we are not super fond of, if they were not in the original source, it would be harder to expand on them later on in a TV show.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, I'm of the belief I much prefer someone to try and make a genuine effort at representation, even if it doesn't always hit the mark. I much prefer someone to try than someone to just say, well, I don't exist in this kind of in this particular identity, so I'm not even going to bother trying. I much prefer someone to try and make an attempt, because I think there's value in that, and there's value in, I mean, Wheel of Time is one of the biggest fantasy series literally in the world, and the fact that Robert Jordan thought to include, what he viewed as, and I mean, it is queer representation, but the fact that he put the thought in to include it really does mean a lot. Like, it genuinely does mean a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, and this is... Oh, God.
Oh, I'm just going to say, like, not to get on my soapbox as a writer, but, there's a lot of, especially in, certain parts of the book community, like, if you are of this identity, you must stick with writing this and stay in your lane. Don't try and write outside of an experience that's not your own.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I get the reason that there's a push for that, because, that we need more diversity in publishing, and we need more marginalized writers having their voices spread through publication. But on the other hand, when you take it to the extreme that some people do of stay in your lane, you can't write anything, it's just creatively stifling.
Yeah.
And also, I just believe that, we should, or writers should, be able to explore themes and ideas. And, there's several writers, like, not to mention him, I'm not going to mention him too many times during this podcast, I promise, but Stephen King was quite bad at representation in a lot of his earlier books, and he's grown a lot as an author. And I like reading horrific things or spooky things happening to or in the presence of queer characters. as opposed to like his stuff from the 70s and 80s where they were just totally absent. And I think had Robert Jordan, not tragically passed away early, I think we would be getting a lot more queer content from him.
I agree.
So I get a little sad thinking that, because I think, he definitely would be giving us a lot more than what we get from him now.
And it's like, what you're saying, that reminds me a bit about the current debate about Percy Jackson, and like the author being able to still being there, as being like, yes, that casting, I am happy with it, and it's a great casting. And that made me a bit sad, because I feel like even if on subjects of like queer representation there wasn't a lot in the Wheel of Time, or on subject of like it didn't have a lot of mention of skin color and this kind of thing in this book, so a lot of people saw that everyone was kind of white, and it makes me sad that Jordan is not there anymore to also be able to be this voice saying, no, it's like casting or storyline change regarding, for example, Maureen and Swan are something that he's fine with.
Yeah, I think he would have loved to see the community as it's grown, and like the diversity in the Wheel of Time community, and just the richness that the show has brought to the series, and things that they've been able to expand on. I think he genuinely would have loved the direction that they've taken things in, and like I'm kind of with you, Matt. Like I get a little sad sometimes, that he's not around to see all of this now, because I think he would have been delighted by it, honestly.
Yeah.
And now we are all gonna cry. End of the episode.
Y'all can cry. I don't really cry. I think the last time I cried was at The Fox and the Hound, and that movie broke me, so I haven't cried since.
Aww.
But I kind of want to go back to in his own words. And this is a quote that I think it's hilarious, and it's sort of just verging on that this is a man writing women having sex, but I think it's also just a fantastic quote to throw in the faces of all the anti-Soirean people. And this is from Newspring, chapter Practice. The quote is, "Swan was right in a way about her knowing Swan's tricks. Swan liked to use tickles at the worst possible moment, sudden pokes in unpleasant places, and embarrassing caresses." I love this quote so much. I don't know why, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's especially the context. The context is not sexual, because Moraine is talking about training for the Aes Sedai test, and Swan distracting her, like to mess up whatever she's weaving. But still, the fact that Swan knows her in such intimacy that she knows what would distract her is cute.
It is, and like very, very, very not straight. Like this is not like, yeah.
People think they're best friend, but I don't know my friends that intimately.
Exactly.
Like, in what world in any context is the phrase "embarrassing caresses" heterosexual? I mean, come on. It's also like, as a fellow Southerner of Robert Jordan, like embarrassing caresses is just like loaded with like decades of Southern sexual repression, and maybe it's just me being a Southerner reading it that way, but it's just inarguable for me.
There's so many quotes in that book that are just at the limits between, is that sexual, is that not sexual, or are we supposed to take that, Moraine, what are you thinking right now? There's one where it's like they are finally finding each other again in, is it Chanchin, something like that. The last time, Chanchin, the last time they go at the book, and they're like going into the same inn, and Moraine has this long paragraph where she's just thinking about sharing a bed with Swan.
Yeah.
And Swan is talking to her about something different. She's just happily bouncing on the bed, and Moraine, they were going to share that bed, and just come on, dude. Like that's. I have a little bit of a gay vibe.
I mean, I just love that it probably wasn't intentional. Like that queerness probably was not super intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
It's like, so it's funny because we talk a lot about how Jordan sometimes is not super great at romances, and
Mhm.
Moraine and Swan feels very natural to me at lovers, but I feel like it's because he describes them as friend, and he was maybe better at describing intimate friendship than
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
romance, than doing romance.
Yeah. And which is I mean, I feel like it's a very heterosexual way of viewing it, because it's like there's this separation between like, well, if you're romantic, then there's no friendship involved. And it's like, no, there should be a deep friendship. It should, like, romantic, like there should be a friendship, like that closeness that like that's not necessarily just like born out of
Spanking?
exactly. It's not just spanking.
Why, Matt? Why?
I mean, don't ask me. Ask Daddy RJ why he included so much spanking.
I don't want to deteriorate the lovely conversation, but do we want... I feel we would be remiss if we did not mention this quote.
Uh-oh.
Is it the Galina quote?
No, it's not the Galina quote. We can get to that too, but no, this one is a little it's a little fucked up.
Uh-oh.
Give it to us.
So from a convention in 2001, he said, well, you put 15-year-old girls in a tower filled with almost entirely women with their hormones raging on overdrive. Keep them away from men because you can't afford to lose any of them. And what do you think is going to happen?
Oh my God.
And no, I want to know what's happening in the military, because the military is an environment with mostly only men. And what was happening? Because I'm like,
I mean, you
why,
know what?
why would they think that a group of women would be like that, considering he had the experience of groups of mostly men? And yeah, I don't know. I just say that and leave that out there.
I mean,
it's certainly a quote.
It's just something I want people to be aware of, because I had to read it and now you had to hear it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not great. It's not great. I think there are several layers to it. It's not greatness.
In this essay, I will.
Exactly.
In these essays, I will.
In this 8-part essay.
Yeah. It's
no.
oh
yeah,
my God.
I'm just rereading that and being like, okay, what can we say about that? Except that, yeah, why do you need to sexualize everything? And
it exists.
It sounds like he's responding to someone like, why did you feel the need to put this into your books?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it feels like it came from the right place, and just like many good intentions, just went straight to hell very fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much, it's your well-intentioned uncle that just says something real dumb.
But also, funnily, it's like it's a quote that predates the Pillow Friend quote by 4
you're
years.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's true. This
Yeah,
is an
you're
old
right.
quote.
And I don't remember exactly which book was it that had the first mention of Pillow Friends. I know, I know because the first version of New Spring, which was a novella in the Legends book, it had a mention of Pillow Friend, because the Cat Swan quote about Swan and Moraine being Pillow Friend is in it. Well, it's a Marian quote, but whatever, is in it. And that was in 1998.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, Pillow Friends do exist.
Yes.
Prior to that.
Yeah.
But do we want to get to the Galina quote, which is the one that we had so much fun with?
Just to give on the context. So do we know why he said that? Whether it was in answer to something, in answer to why
the
are
Galina quote?
No, the hormone rages on the road. Because I'm wondering whether it was a defensive response in answer to why are you making like Moraine and Swan gay, for example.
Yeah. It does seem like it's a defensive answer, because defensive answers aren't always
Yeah.
very well thought out, and they're not always graceful answers.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that he was responding to a bigoted questioner, perhaps a white cloak, or IRL white cloak.
So on Theoryland, where I got the quote, it is there's no reference as to how it got on the subject, but the exact verbiage used was, at one point he made mention of the whole lesbian issue.
Okay.
So I guess
someone said something.
I think this answers the question about whether there are really lesbians in Randland and if they are intentional. And I'm like, it seems pretty intentional.
Yeah.
Speaking of lesbians in Randland, does someone want to read the Galina quote?
Which part of it?
I mean, all of it's kind of wonderful.
I'd like to read it.
Hate it.
Go for it.
That's okay. Thank you. Okay. I don't think I can do this in a southern accent without cracking up, so I'm just going to read it. So, from Aes Sedai notes, Galina is a lesbian. She had the hots for Ariam Borelios. That part of her relationship with Thurava is no shock. Just that Thurava, is that how I'm pronouncing it? Thurava?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We don't care. I'm French. I don't know how to pronounce any of those names.
Just that Thavara likes to dominate her and does it so easily. One of the Shido wise ones, Thavara, has the hots for Galina, and despite Galina's sexual orientation and her innate toughness, this woman gives her the cold shivers. Not surprising, considering that Thurava also hates and despises her. Part of Galina knows that this woman will take immense pleasure in degrading and humiliating her, perhaps any Aes Sedai, and that what is envisioned is a dominatrix and slave relationship. Galina is by nature a most definite top, or at least the one in charge, but she's destined to be taught how to bottom quite thoroughly. After
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna get through this quote. Okay, take two. Galina is by nature a most definite top, or at least the one in charge, but she's destined to be taught how to bottom quite thoroughly. After she is bound by the oath, of course, Galina has no choice at all in the matter. Okay, I did it.
So first, Jordan, consent.
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck, consent? And also, fuck, Jordan, what the hell is? It's like,
I'm sorry. Like,
There's
consent
so
is,
much.
Consent is yes, but I was numb at that point, so like that's not even registering for me.
But
it was the last sentence, so that's the last thing that came into my brain. But yeah, it's like, what was the source of inspiration of Jordan? Like, was this? No, but like, I'm really wondering whether this is only information about queer community was like BDSM queer community.
I think, yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm just rereading it. She's destined to be taught how to bottom quite thoroughly.
It sounds like, you know what? It sounds like the sort of like snippet, like the description of like a porn video. That's what it sounds
he's
like.
Writing the back cover of his Galina porn spinoff.
Oh
my god! What if that was one of the Outrigger novels that he had planned? Lan and Moraine, Matt and Tuon, Galina bottoms.
Galina learns to bottom.
What if he wrote it and Harriet is just like hiding it?
Girl, she needs to keep hiding that. I don't ever want that to see the light of day.
Keep a handle on that, sis. Oh my god.
She burned it. She said Robert.
Yes.
She said, Ray Bradbury, you had the right idea. Fahrenheit 451.
We're sorry, Oliver Rickney Jr. We love you.
There's so much going on in that quote.
So much, and none of us want to talk about that.
There's just nothing to say.
What can you say? Like there are parts of it that are like strangely like not positive, but like I'm more okay with than others. Like it starts off with Galina is a lesbian. She has the hots for. That's great. That is
And then it
that is
goes downhill.
information for my brain. Thank you, Robert Jordan. And then, like, it just devolves into what?
It devolves into like punishment porn.
Yes.
Yes. So
I mean,
Galina
it's weird.
is by nature a most definite top.
I mean, obviously.
And
Got
I
it.
do love how he worked in the oath rod.
Remember, the most important thing when working with the oath rod is how to not make it look like a cock.
Yeah. Thank you, Rosamund Pike, for that gift.
That's one of her best quotes. I'm sorry to say.
Easily.
I mean, that's the quote that made me realize that she was completely deranged.
Yeah, she's an absolute. She's unbridled
She has
chaos,
no
and I love
anged-
it.
She's a
I wish she was
unhinged.
my aunt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know what? She is our gay aunt.
Mm-hmm.
Rosamund Pike is the official gay aunt of this podcast.
Yay.
She has no choice in the matter.
Nope.
Girl, I didn't have a choice. You don't get no choice.
Mhm.
What do you mean you have a choice? You literally made this podcast up.
I'm sorry, that's not
You
how I remember
manifested
it. I did manifest it. Okay. There are some other quotes, but none of them are as wonderful as that Galina quote.
No,
So do we want to
nothing's-
end part 1 of our Pillow Friends episode there before we
I
go
think so.
into part
Yeah.
2, where we talk more
Mhm.
about the examples in the series?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's indeed a good stopping point, and maybe that means it's time for a game.
It is time for a
It's time
game!
for a game. Camille has such a mischievous smile on their face right now. I'm excited.
We're gonna need to get like someone to do like game music, like a quick
Yes.
10-second game music clip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's time
Listen.
to play a game. Gay.
Anyway, so the game of the day is Igloo Bond Balefire. So,
Mhm.
how do you guys say Balefire? Balefire? Balefire?
Balefire.
Balefire, yeah.
So, Igloo Bond Balefire.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'm laughing, it's one of my trio is very appropriate for that discussion. So, that's going to be interesting.
Uh-oh.
Am I gonna have to
And-
Google who any of these people are?
No, I think we should be fine for those first two trio. So basically, I picked a bunch of trio. I kind of gave them a theme. Right now we're gonna do one male trio and one female trio.
Okay.
So which one do you want to start with?
You know, we were just
Yeah.
talking about the lesbians, so let's do lesbians.
Let's do the ladies.
Let's do the
Ladies
ladies.
first.
Let's go, lesbians.
So the first trio, I called them "No, We've Got Bad Blood" because it's three. It's three Red Aja sisters.
I
We
love
know we
it.
got bad
Bad
blood.
blood.
Yes.
knew it used to be
And as a
red.
reminder, Igloo Bond Balefire is just a fuck, marry, kill. Igloo is a fuck, Bond is a marry, and Balefire is a kill. And so that first trio, No, We've Got Bad Blood, is composed by Eleida, Galina, and Leandrine.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Aleda, who, and Leandrin?
Galina.
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 Oh.
Okay, no, this seems very straightforward for me. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
first.
Okay.
I would kill Elida because that would bring me, or I would balefire Elida because that would just bring me
Mhm.
so much joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so much joy. Galina, I would fuck because she would show me a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would marry Leandrin. Like, I know it's not a great choice,
There's
but
no
it's the
great
choice I'm
choice,
gonna
yeah.
make.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think it would be a lot of fun for however long I lived, which probably wouldn't be super long.
So,
But I couldn't live with myself if I didn't kill Elida. So
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. So
Damn.
for me, I would balefire Elida. I guess I might like build up to it. I might like do a few false balefires just to scare her, because if I balefire her immediately, then her suffering is over, and I don't want that. So I'd have to find a way to draw it out. Maybe get Cimarog to help me a bit. But I'd balefire Elida definitely. And I'm going to agree with James on iglooing Galina because, you know, wham bam, thank you ma'am, no thanks for that. And assuming that Leandrin is Kate Fleetwood,
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
There's-
That is a caveat in mind too.
It has to be Kate Fleetwood as Leandrin.
I would totally marry Kate Fleetwood's Leandrin just because I would do whatever she wanted to, you know.
Because those cheekbones.
Those
Because those
cheekbones.
cheekbones.
Cut glass. Cat.
Oh my god. I am a conflicted ball of lesbian feelings right now. Is what's happening.
Oh.
Okay. So I would igloo Galina because, like James said, she would show me a good time.
Are you all gonna say the same three things?
No.
Oh.
I have a different.
But you're gonna say the wrong thing?
Oh.
Is it because you can fix her?
Uh-huh.
You can fix Elida.
James, I hate you so much. That's what I was gonna say.
I just think if I had enough time, I could fix her. You know.
She just hasn't had the right woman yet.
That's literally what I was going to say. So yeah, Bond. I mean, yeah, I could fix her. I could fix her.
At least she hasn't sold her soul to the dark.
I could fix her. Exactly. She's not a dark friend, and I would be. So this breaks. Okay, this is as the opposite of James. This is the caveat that this is Book Leandrin that we are talking about.
Okay.
I would balefire Book Leandrin
Mm-hmm.
because of the shady things that she does to my girls. So, and Elaine, I could fix her.
I'm gonna agree with Kat on the bonding Elida.
Yeah,
because I don't want to be bonded to someone who sold their soul to the dark, because I don't want to sell
Oh my
my
god, you
soul
people
to the
with your
dark.
morals.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
and I think Elida, like, clearly of good guidance, and also is a bit too dumb to get the good guidance, but I
Exactly.
mean, that can be fixed.
exactly.
I will igloo
Camille gets me.
Leandrin too.
Yeah,
I would igloo Leandrin because show
Leandrin.
Leandrin. I mean,
She can
I
get
saw
it.
that jaw. I'm into it.
Mhm.
And
Sister
I would-
Strongjaw, isn't that what
Yeah.
everyday Negroes called her?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what she-
exactly.
It's the perfect
And
name.
I would definitely balefire Galina because that woman gives me the freaks
Mhm.
me out. It's
Oh yeah, no, I would
yeah.
need years of therapy after iglooing her. Like I would,
100%.
Yeah.
like I don't think I could be touched for a long time. Thankfully, Leandrin probably doesn't want to touch me that much, so it's great.
There you go.
the question
Hey,
that
that's
we
perfect.
must ask is if Galina, is this top Galina or bottom Galina that we're iglooing?
I mean, for me personally, it's top Galina. That's the
For
only
me,
option.
it's also top Galina because I want to see what that would be like.
For me, I've changed my mind just thinking about it, and I will igloo Elida and balefire Galina because no ma'am.
I could get behind. Nope. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think
This
we
is a
all.
good game,
Controversial.
guys. This is good. I like this.
Igloo Bomb Balefire is a wonderful game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you want to hear what the male trio is?
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do that after, or are we gonna do that recording?
No, because I have like 3 male trio, 3 female trio. We can do like 1 male, 1 female.
This is
right
fun.
now,
Let's
and
do
then-
it.
Yeah.
we
I'm
got
on
we
board.
got we got trios
So-
for days.
The title for those is "I Got to Taste the Taint."
So-
No, it's
Ew.
not. Can you rename that, please?
No.
And we
No,
are
it's staying the way it is. That's the name of it.
we are dealing with Logain, Tame, and Rand.
Okay.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, this is easy.
Um,
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. I would
Mm.
fuck Logain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I would igloo Logain,
Mhm.
Balefire Tame, marry
Mhm.
Rand.
Yeah.
Although I might switch Logain and Rand.
Why not
Mm.
both?
Why not both?
Wait, is it Rand as in Moradin or Rand as in Rand? Because the ginger
Ooh.
thing, that kind of does it for me.
It's
This is the question.
whatever round you want.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't want Mord and Rand.
Mhm.
No, you're gonna have to come back to me. I need to think about this. We're Balefiring Tame. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty easy. Balefiring Tame. I hate him so much. God, as a character, I just don't like him. And I would igloo Logain, and I would bond Rand. Rand Althor, because you always need a little bit of a dragon's peace in your life.
There you go.
Kat, do you want to go?
Okay. All right. So one of them is very easy. I'm with you, Matt. I would also Balefire Tame because I don't like him. But I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to I would igloo Rand, I think. And then I would bond Logain. Yeah. I don't know. This is hard. This one is tricky. Rand and Logain could go either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm really struggling with, because I'm like, which one would be the better lay long term? They're both gonna cry afterwards.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Can I go and mess up with all of you guys?
Uh-oh.
Oh God. Oh Jesus. They thought of this a lot today.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna igloo Tame because I've heard he's good at turning people.
Oh no.
Come on. That is such a dad joke.
Oh no.
I'm sorry about that. And I'm gonna
wait. No, how long did you think about that? How long have you been waiting to say that?
I thought about that 3 minutes ago. That's it. Honestly, it's while listening to you all always bite for time saying I'm not gonna say that because it's gonna be the easy answer. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna Balefire Rand because he should have died as the last battle.
Oh, him.
Shots fired.
No.
You know what though?
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Because I think I am going to change my answer. I am going to Balefire Rand as long as it's book Rand.
Ooh. We are
as long as it's book Rand
today.
I mean, because look, he wants to die anyway, and honestly, I mean,
I can fix him though.
Amazing.
I can fix him.
I mean,
I'm not now, Matt. You get it.
This is a separate reality. But yes, I would marry Logain because like I can get that. But yes, I would probably fuck Tame because I mean, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. Well, maybe I'd really enjoy it. I don't know.
No,
but
I would hate it.
So that was for a game. That was interesting.
That was Igloo Bond Balefire, brought to you by the Queers of Time.
Ta-da!
And the characters we can fix.
I can fix him.
I can fix her.
No, we can't. So that was it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queer Time podcast. So we're gonna have probably 2 more episodes about Pillow Friends because there's a lot to say about that. If you liked our show and want to hang out with us a little bit more, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And maybe we'll have a Discord server open by that time. Maybe we'll have a website. We don't know yet. We will see. And that's it for today. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
No.
Stay tuned for part 2 because it's about to get spicier.
If you thought this was spicy, you ain't seen nothing.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.